Radio Network. And now, live from Austin, Texas, Alex Jones.
Vani Hari, the food babe, was on with us on Tuesday. Now it's Thursday, the 6th day already of February 2014. And she talked about the chemical emulsifier plastic that is in the Subway bread. And 2 days after she launched that on our show, and after you took action, and we're a big part of this, I'm not even taking credit. I'm just saying we're able to have an effect. You deserve credit for taking action. Subway has now announced USA Today that they're to remove chemical from the bread. That's up on drudgereport.com. And we should have one of the great writers up here, maybe Gucciardi or Mikhail Thalen. They're more of our health news people. Thalen and Gucciardi run storyleak.com. And storyleak.com has been really on top of all this. So maybe one of those two guys, I know they're both listening. I guess Thalen from Washington State and Gucciardi from his office downtown. One of those two should do an article about how InfoWarriors took action. The people took action. And now Subway is to remove this out of their breads. And the reason the food babe is so smart is she targeted one company that's doing this of hundreds of fast food chains and different places. There are plastic emulsifier fluffers, basically, that are in the Chicken McNuggets, you name it. And now by getting them to do this, it'll be a domino effect, just like Cheerios going organic as well, non-GMO. This is a big deal. And there'll be cheating and other things involved. But the point is, we have the moral high ground. We're winning. We're voting with our dollars. We're voting with our time and energy, speaking up. And we have power. That's why the system is always trying to shut us up. That's why they'll go after sheriffs that don't enforce unconstitutional gun laws. In the case of Liberty County, Florida, where the law was actually ambiguous, the person's traveling from work or home, they're allowed to carry a concealed firearm in their vehicle. Well, why did you arrest this guy? Well, all the statute's written where maybe I could interpret it that, you know, he was violating it. No, you're going to let him go. We're getting rid of this police report. This is BS. No, they went and arrested that sheriff. But you know what? He then went to court. The jury said not guilty because you judge the facts as well as the law. And it's actions like that. Sheriff Richard Mack refusing to enforce the Brady law. And then they came after him. He took the Supreme Court and won. Look, all that evil men and tyrants need to flourish is that good men and women do nothing. Thomas Jefferson. And this is a big deal. I am so excited about this because it only took 2 days for this to happen. Now, look, they're going to add some other emulsifier, guaranteed, that's a similar molecule, and then we'll have to make a big deal out of that. That's part of the fight, is you've got to do this over and over and over again. And things like this are really a dream come true for me, to be able to be, I'm not bragging, it's just a fact to show how my taking action and you taking action helped. Rand Paul was not going to run for Senate when he started that exploratory committee a year before he ran. And our show, when he came on and said, well, donate to the exploratory committee, and they raised off this show about $500,000 in a 2-day period, off one plug. And I talked to Rand off air. And also on air later, and he thanked the listeners, and he said, no, that pushed us over the edge. I'm going to run for the Senate. This show was the straw that pushed him over the edge, was the straw that broke the camel's back. You are the reason Rand Paul is in the Senate. You. And you are the reason Subway is now a great part of it, removing this. So don't ever think you don't have power. And I could go on case after case of how I've influenced the world, how you've influenced the world. I mean, a lot of King of the Hill, folks, is based on yours truly. All because I took action. And that was when I was on Access Television. You never know who you're really influencing. Well, look at the headline from USA Today. Subway to remove chemical from bread. Subway, one of the world's biggest bread makers, is about to remove a chemical from its breads that raised the ire of an influential health activist and food blogger who launched her campaign here on the broadcast with us on Tuesday, the Food Babe. And continuing, Subway, one of the world's biggest bread bakers, is about to remove a chemical from its breads. The world's biggest sandwich chain says it's in the process of removing the chemical known as, hard to pronounce, azodia carbamide from its sandwich breads, a chemical that Vani Hari, who runs the site foodbabe.com, says is commonly used to increase elasticity in everything from yoga mats to shoe rubber to synthetic leather. It's used for the same reason in bread, she says, as a dough conditioner. Quote, we are already in the process of removing it as part of our bread improvement efforts, despite the fact that USDA and FDA approved the ingredient. The company said in a statement, the complete conversation and conversion to have this product out of the bread will be done soon. Let's just start with the facts here. This is banned in China, banned in Russia, banned in Japan, banned in England, banned in Germany, banned in Brazil. This is all part of these plastic emulsifiers. Just search silicone in chicken McNuggets. Remember the FDA 4 or 5 years ago when the whole melamine situation from China was big in the news, and they were executing executives in China who'd put melamine in the milk and baby formula because it can fool the protein testing that the government does. And it was causing organ failure, kidney failure. Well, the FDA responded by saying some melamine is safe. That guy, show it. It's USA Today as well. Type into the search engine. FDA says some melamine safe. Think about that. So our government says melamine safe. Our government says these plastic products in the food are safe. This is insane. And the larger issue here is that we're the dumping ground for all this stuff. No one else is allowing this to go on. And we've absolutely got to take action and speak out. And we've done that now with her launching her campaign here on our broadcast. We retweeted it. Our listeners really helped. So I want to salute the listeners of our broadcast for taking action. There's the headline, FDA to allow trace levels of melamine in baby formula. And that's out of the Washington Post, and the Wall Street Journal also reporting on that. But if you actually go find the other AP headline at the time, I remember it, some melamine safe in baby formula. And that's how they pitch it. That's how they sell it. That's what they do. And now they say radiation is safe in higher levels and DU safe for the troops to use, even though until 1990 they said don't let them use it, it's deadly. It's a death sentence. And they always said don't give pregnant women vaccines. It's known to cause all sorts of deformities, miscarriages, problems, autoimmune disorders in children. Going back to the H1N1 5 years ago, they said, you know what? It's safe. In fact, women should take more vaccines when they're pregnant. FDA set safe levels for melamine in baby formula. CNN. There it is if you're a TV viewer. This is so frustrating, ladies and gentlemen. So it's not allowed anywhere in the world. This plastic emulsifier, this fluffer, makes the bread look more delicious and I guess fake. Why not actually eat plastic food? You ever gone into like a restaurant, a cafeteria, and they'll have whatever the day's special dishes are in plastic, in wax food? Why don't we just make all the food wax and just say it's safe? We can all eat it and die of kidney failure and die of diverticulitis. It'll be fun. So the good news here, ladies and gentlemen, is that we've taken action, and the Food Babe emailed us this morning saying she'd be happy to come on today. We've now emailed her back, so she may be popping in sometime during the 3-hour, now 2-hour, 46.5-minute transmission that we have lined up for you today. Now, that said, here's some of the other headlines up on Infowars.com. This is really an important one that Kurt Nimmo just did that just went live. Corporate media says Syrian terrorist threatened jihad in Britain and the U.S. And what's amazing about this is these are the very jihadists that have been funded by NATO. The group, which is Western-backed, takes to Facebook states it has no intention to target Britain. This is unbelievable. And it's a great little blurb Kurt put together breaking it down, that this is the group that's been funded by the West. But we probably should just add that to the sub-headline that, you know, groups backed by NATO against Syria say they have no intention. But it's just simply mind-boggling that, again, they can say they need to take our rights away when they're actually funding and protecting these groups. It doesn't mean they completely run them. I want to explain that. It means they protect them. They fund them. They open doors for them. They let them attack us. Bare minimum. And then take our rights away when it happens. It's kind of like the government helps grow the opium from 7% of world production in Afghanistan in 2001 to 93% now of world production. An 11, 12, 13-fold increase, depending on how you look at it. Flooding the world with deadly heroin, killing people. And then, the actor Hoffman shoots it up, the ace of spades, out of Afghanistan. That's what the heroin was called. And he dies. And they go raid the people that sold it to him. And again, I don't like those heroin-dealing rats. The whole point is you can't arrest them a maximum law if their bosses go free. It's a abomination. It's a hypocritical joke. Now, there's one of Kurt's articles about it. Group backed by NATO against Syria takes to Facebook, states it has no intention of targeting Britain. Wow, he updated that instantly. What a team. What a team. Again, I'm not correcting the guys on air. I ask them to correct me in my ear when I make mistakes, which I do, because you're thinking on your feet. You don't have a teleprompter. And the same thing is I'm kind of the master editor. Why things don't work too well, I'm joking. And then I sit here and make little tweaks on the fly, as they say. But continuing here with the news, this is a huge article up on Infowars.com. Cop handcuffs firefighter for trying to protect crash victim. That was like the footage that came out last month in England of the car overturned in the water, and the cop won't help as 5 bystanders try to get the woman out who still died, who was upside down in the water begging for help, thrashing around, caught in the vehicle. And again, I've seen the footage. The firefighter's vehicle is not blocking the road, and he's going down to try to save the person who's pinned in the vehicle upside down in the gully. And the cop comes over and says, "Move your truck." And the firefighter says, "No." And so he arrests him. And then that reminded me of this viral video that came out in 2009. Troopers suspended for 5 days for scuffle with paramedic. I love how they call it a scuffle. You've got on a rural 2-lane road, the state police fly up behind an ambulance that has its lights on with a person who turned out having a heart attack on board. And so the guy pulls over, and the paramedic, first the driver gets out, and then the actual paramedic taking care of people. There's a better res of this, guys, if you look, but it doesn't matter. I think Paul's must have found a low-res one. The guy gets out and goes, "Look, this person's having a heart attack. What is your problem?" So they assault him, and then they call it a scuffle as they choke the guy. In fact, we're going to play that audio coming up later. The whole point is that they pull the ambulance over. It's one state police guy. Then more arrive minutes later as the driver says, "Look, just please let us get on the way. This person's having a heart attack." This is all on video. It's like 20 minutes of it total. And finally, more troopers arrive, and the paramedic in the back with the lady having the heart attack gets out and goes, "What in the world is going on here? You said you had to get somewhere so quick and we wouldn't pull over when there's no shoulder." They don't even let him say that. Bam, start choking him. Then they go, "Don't resist." And you just stand there going, "I'm not. I don't think I can control myself." These are people who believe they're God and believe everything is about them. And I'm not saying the average cops are like this, but you're seeing this more and more where you'll have a news crew, 80 yards away videotaping some wreck, not blocking traffic, and the cop comes over and goes, "Leave." And they go, "No, we're news." And they go, "Leave." "Well, all right." Guy turns around, "No, I'm going to arrest you and the camera guy." It's craziness. I mean, let me tell you something. I've been in an ambulance before, hurt. and wanting to get to the hospital. And I mean, I would get really mad if I was in the back of an ambulance having a heart attack and they've got me on the side of the road for 15, 20 minutes because I mean, he runs up on the end of this ambulance and there's a gully in the side of the road. The ambulance can't pull over. The cop car can go around him, doesn't, pulls him over, and then just keeps him there while somebody's having a heart attack in the back of the ambulance. This is crazy land. It's like the cop that in Oklahoma, again, but he got fired. That was a good police chief. The 3-year-old was seen peeing in the bushes by the cop. And he comes and gives the kid a ticket and the mom a ticket and then starts arresting people for a 3-year-old peeing in the bushes. I mean, folks, if you go to the beach and it's full of people and you sit there, you will see kids peeing in the surf. You'll see girls squatting in the surf, 2, 3-year-olds, 4-year-olds. I mean, come on. I mean, come on, folks. My kids, until they got a little bit older, pee in the surf, pee in the bushes. You going to arrest them? This is normal behavior.
By now, you may know that a Bitcoin...
All right, we're going to play the audio and the video. Do you know this song was written as a joke? That's a little inside baseball I was told by folks involved in the production of this. He just come out with a whole record that he thought was great, and the record company didn't like it, so he wrote this in like 5 minutes as a joke about how they wanted mindless pop stuff, and it was a huge hit, just a side issue. Again, Alex Jones here live. If you just joined us, cop handcuffs firefighter for trying to protect crash victims. To detain one of our firemen in the middle of an incident is ridiculous. It's more than ridiculous. It's a total power trip where police have been told they can give any order they want, and God himself would need to follow that order. It's like in the movie Full Metal Jacket where the Marine Corps general says, all I ask of my troops is that they obey my orders as if it was the word of God. But the problem is that police now just come in houses without warrants. They just do whatever and say, you didn't mind my order. I'm going to come in your house. I'm going to do whatever I want. And we know what happens. This is part of the authoritarian march by design. The police have changed and are changing, and the police are incrementally told that it's okay they're doing this. They're the most brainwashed people out there. That's why we focus so much on the police. So cop handcuffs firefighter in California. Stunning video shows California Highway Patrol officer handcuffing a firefighter who was trying to help victims of a serious car crash in Chula Vista. Now my problem is I have other videos of this. The cops are cussing so much on it. We're going to try to bleep it out live on air as we play it. But we've got a CBS News report on it that's been cleaned up. And we've got the one out of Oklahoma, but this one in California just happened. And the ambulance on the 2-lane road is waving the cop around him. He pulls him over and says, I don't like those hand gestures. You can see it all in the squad car video. And I can't believe how calm the ambulance driver and the paramedic are. The paramedic says, don't talk to my driver like that. And he goes, you get your bleep back in that vehicle right now. And then it just goes on and on and on, and them justifying it while the woman's having a heart attack in the back. I mean, it's crazy. And if that woman would have died, they would have said she had a pre-existing condition, had nothing to do with us stopping it. I mean, it's crazy town. Absolute crazy town. And it means we live in an authoritarian country where they do proctology exams on the side of the highway. They take money out of people's wallets now, even $1,000, and say, prove it isn't for drugs. I mean, it is nuts. It is crazy. It is un-American by any stretch of the imagination. It's authoritarianism. Let's go to this CBS News report out of California. It's up on Infowars.com. Here it is.
Thousands of comments on the CBS News 8 Facebook page and website outraged about a handcuffed firefighter in Chula Vista.
Hey, I just want to, he's arrested me.
Chula Vista firefighter Jacob Gregoire calls for his supervisor. Only CBS News 8 has this heated exchange between the veteran firefighter and an unnamed CHP officer about the safety of where the fire truck is parked during a rollover accident.
It's unbelievable you have to do this. It's unbelievable you guys have to treat us like this. We're on the road trying to help you guys. We asked you to clear the road and you said no, and you'll get arrested if you do that.
CHP has guidelines to safely clear the road, but you see, it's up for debate who was in the wrong legally.
Now, the issue here is the fire department knows what they're doing. You've got a 3-lane highway right there, and you've got a tiny shoulder. So for everyone's safety, they park the fire truck on the shoulder and then out into one lane. And most police departments do the same thing so people don't get run over. You've got a flipped over car there. There's cops, it looks like, on Infowars.com going, I'm sick of these firefighters. I'm glad they arrested him. You're not supposed to block a lane of the road. We want the road open. This is insane. It's like people that thought it was weird that we saw a burning car and John Bound pulled over on 360 and told the lady, get away from the car. When she's standing 2 feet from a car that had fire under it and then blew up 2 minutes later. And the cars are all driving right by it. It's like, oh, big deal. This is this whole attitude of don't help anybody, don't get involved, and then also arrest paramedics, arrest firefighters. Let's go back to the report after the break, and then I'll get into the whole situation in Oklahoma just to show the crazy mindset. And again, this does not reflect all the police, but it's a minority of police who've been told, they've all been told this, but it's the minority that then act on it, that you can do whatever you want and just look for an excuse to arrest somebody, and you're above everyone. Meanwhile, the government ships in the narcotics and runs Al-Qaeda. That's my frustration, is the government at the top is criminal. No one can deny it. It's illegitimate. It's bankrupting the country by design. And we need to wake the police up so they don't become imperial enforcers for the New World Order. That's why we talk about the police. Bones. The truth is, folks, the 5-0 throughout history and in every authoritarian regime that are the majority of regimes worldwide currently are there to keep the general public in line and tax them and generate revenue. They are not there to hunt down criminals. And the last 20 years, the FBI, the IRS have gotten rid of almost all their white-collar fraud investigators. And now the FBI, a month ago, officially said they're not even going to focus on white-collar issues, period. Their main focus is terrorism. That means power grabbing and fighting imaginary enemies that they actually finance. That's the bottom line. Going after reporters, going after leakers, going after the press. And you've got more news out today I'm going to be getting to with members of Congress and others calling for the arrest of anyone that reports corruption and saying that Snowden and Greenwald especially is a criminal that needs to be arrested. When Greenwald exposed the stolen data of the American people that the government is stealing illegally, they exposed the crime. Remember, senior congressman attempts to get FBI director to say investigative journalism is a crime. He basically says it is. He calls Greenwald a thief stealing stolen material, close quote. That's a Representative Mike Rogers of Minnesota. I mean, with Republicans like this, who needs Democrats? I mean, this is just unbelievable that they're talking about stolen data. You're the ones that are stealing it all in public plain view and have been caught lying, saying you weren't. And you've got the nerve to call people criminals and traitors who they've only released the fact that you're spying on everybody and how you're doing it, which was already known from previous NSA whistleblowers. The only difference is that The Guardian was willing to publish this stuff and that Snowden went to Hong Kong and then to Russia. And because he went to Russia, the media tried to spin it and thought they could demonize leakers to try to tie it to Russia and cloak and dagger clandestine garbage. The Russians don't need to know from Snowden what's going on. It's all hardwired into all the internet infrastructure. If I knew all about this by 1997, more than what you've heard from Snowden, exactly what I've told you about the NSA has now been all confirmed. Because I know real NSA whistleblowers, people that would meet me at the rodeo, at the car show, at the book signing, at the video signing. People would meet me show up in the parking lot and give me stuff that was so classified, I didn't even know what I was getting, and I would shred the stuff. And I got death threats over it as well. It's all on record. It's all on record, I told you. It's all for economic espionage. It's to predict the future in mass movements, individual movements. It's wired into everything. It's watching, it's listening, it's collating. It's the smart grid. We told you. We told you everything. The Russians know all this. And then I had James Bamford on in 98 and 2000, the former producer of Nightline, who got all the classified documents. And Wayne Madsen, in the late 90s right through to now. I've been interviewing Madsen for 15, 16 years. And what I'm getting at here is I'm not bragging, saying, oh, we covered all this and nobody else did. That's not what I'm doing. I'm saying it's not a secret. It's not a secret. It's not a secret. It's not a secret that our military, since Vietnam at least, ships in the majority of the heroin, the majority of the cocaine. The Nazis took over the heroin trade when they were able to take over Italy and Greece at the time, and other areas there in the Mediterranean, Cyprus. And then when we invaded to take it back from the Nazis, they just took over the criminal networks and the criminal keys. And the argument was if they didn't work with the mafia, they would have sided with the Nazis. But from day one, that's why the CIA uses Italian hitmen so often, is because they're from overseas, they're in a code, they'll never talk, and they don't even know who hired them. They're ordered by their bosses to go kill people. It's the perfect go-between. And then the media uses the ignorance of the public and goes, well, was it Italian hitmen, or was it British hitmen, or was it CIA hitmen? I mean, they say it's the CIA, the Italian mafia, the British jackal. I mean, who was it? It's all the same group. It's organized crime, folks. Grow up. Stop being naive. I have had multiple members of my family who were in the U.S. Army and were officers that were involved in serious stuff. And they didn't even tell me much of it. Just, oh, yeah, you're on target and you're right. I have a great uncle who recently died, who was an Army officer and was brought into the CIA and got out of it, would not do the stuff they wanted him to do. He did a lot of stuff, but wouldn't do what they wanted him to do in Chicago. In Chicago. And by the way, this doesn't mean my family's some special family. Folks, you talk about Texas, South Texas, West Texas, East Texas, Central Texas. It's like CIA recruiting area. Because they all know where, look at Audie Murphy, all the Texans. I mean, the government got it in its head that Texans will get the job done. Heavy recruiting out of Texas, the Midwest as well. And I mean, let me tell you, it's a giant army of people, folks. Most Army officers that have been in combat and been in multiple decades are not really even Army officers, ladies and gentlemen. They're in the shadow government. And I am so sick of how mindlessly naive the general public is. You need to grow up and you need to wake up, ladies and gentlemen. You want to know how it really is? They make it funny and stylize it, so I didn't like the movie, but the information was actually very accurate, other than the fact that it made it very cartoonish. Two Guns. I saw that a few months ago. And you know who was in the audience when I watched Two Guns? Special Forces, police, and FBI agents. You could tell that's FBI, that's a federal marshal, those guys are military. When the movie ended, I'd walk over and talk to them. They're like, yeah, how do you know that? Oh, give me a break. You all guys all look like what type you are. And they were all there laughing and smiling during it because it was like some revelation of the method to Mark Wahlberg, Denzel Washington movie. I'm not going to give the whole movie away, but it's just every element of the government is dealing drugs. Every element, the CIA, the DEA, the FBI, the Marines, the Navy. Because, folks, let me explain something to you. That's how it really works. And it is unbelievable. And guess who runs the whole thing? The State Department. State Department runs the whole show. The CIA, the NSA, the Pentagon, everything. Because State Department's been around the longest. It's got all the tentacles in, all the command points. And the reason I go off into that whole diatribe is this shadow government is now absorbing the economy and has put out directives to ban bake sales and kids selling lemonade and little girls baking cupcakes and telling people that you can't have 8 kids over for a birthday party in your own rural farmhouse. That was in the news Monday. You go, why is this happening? Forbes ask. The Week ask. All these publications go, why is there a war directed by the feds to the states? Because we're in a prison, folks. I don't want to live under a Pentagon and a CIA that wants to ban lemonade stands. I mean, you people are scum, and you know it. And it's not cute like Two Guns where everybody's out killing each other and everybody's a gangster and has all this money. You are wrecking the country. And I'm sick of it. And I'm sick of the naivete of the police out there to the arrogant level of arresting and beating up and choking paramedics because after 15 minutes on the side of the road, they go, that's it. You pulled us over because we didn't get out of your way when we can't. And then they start choking them. And then they go, well, he assaulted us. We're going to charge him. And the public saw the video, and there was such outrage, they backed off. They were going to put the paramedic in jail and charge them. They were going to charge until there was backlash and a camera, the firefighter. They're going to, I mean, this is crazy land. Crazy land. And the cop says, I got to go around you in Oklahoma, and then pulls them over for 15 minutes. If he had to get somewhere so bad. This is all about, I'm a gangster, do what I say. And you've been given this illegitimate power because the country has been taken over, period. You need to wake up to that. You need to understand that, ladies and gentlemen. And stop being so naive. Now, let's go ahead and go back to that CBS News report out of California where the highway patrol officer, public servant, arrest the other public servant, firefighter, for parking on the shoulder out into one lane of a 3-lane highway. And you can see the traffic flying by. It's not stopping traffic. Plus, they're going to stop anyways if you park on the shoulder because everybody wants to rubberneck and look. But plus, you couldn't park the fire truck on the little shoulder. The cops obsess over safety all day, and then they just tell the fire truck, move. It's crazy. Let's go ahead and go to this video.
Firefighters say they park at an angle to protect emergency crews, patients, and drivers.
We're in the middle of patient care with patients on the freeway. They're putting them in handcuffs at this time and walking them away.
We spoke to the union president for Chula Vista Fire, who says Gregoire did the right thing to protect the public.
I'm very proud of Jake. He made all firefighters look good in that situation because he was there to protect the citizens, and he was willing to take a stand to do that.
This isn't the first time a firefighter's been detained. We found it happened in Santa Barbara involving a CHP and a firefighter. In Missouri, a firefighter was arrested by police, and he was awarded $17 grand in a civil suit. Back here in Chula Vista, we're told that this isn't the first time that this type of dispute has happened, just never handcuffed until this moment.
I truly believe in my heart that this is going to get solved.
Now, Gregoire was released about a half hour after being detained in the handcuffs. Brass from CHP and the fire department met this morning. They released this joint statement. In summary, it assures this is an isolated incident and both agencies strive for public safety, and this should not happen again. We have reached out to firefighter Gregoire, but he did not answer.
I mean, you've got a car flipped over in the road, and you got the fire truck could not park on the shoulder with the highway divider out in the road. And what is he supposed to do? This is crazy land. And this is exactly what I'm talking about. Now, let's go back. This has got a bunch of cussing. We're going to try to bleep it out. If not, we'll delay it out on the radio stations. But you listen to NPR, they play cussing when it's documentary, just like PBS, because we're not putting this out, you know, cussing out just so we can play cussing. We're documenting, like in a court, what's going on. But nevertheless, we're going to bleep it out. Video viewers, people watching our streams, audio and video, you'll actually see the unfiltered. This is the police in Oklahoma pulling over the ambulance that has a woman in the back having a heart attack, and the family's following the ambulance. They get out and start videotaping. Here it is.
I'm talking to the driver. No, I'm talking to you. I'm the medic. You better get back in that ambulance. I'm talking to the driver. I'm in charge of this unit, sir. Okay. My name is Maurice White. I'm a critical care paramedic. I'm going to give you a ticket for failure to yield. And when I go by you saying what's going on, you don't need to be giving me no hand gestures now. I ain't going to put up with that shit. You understand me? And I won't put up with you talking to my driver like that. I ain't listening to you, buddy. You get your ass back in that ambulance or I'll take you in. I'm talking to the driver. And if you would. Come over here, Paul. No, we got a patient in this unit right now. Okay, you want to go ahead and pull over to the side of the road when there's an emergency vehicle behind you? I didn't No, you ran up on us quickly. I did not run up on you quickly, buddy. Yes, you did. You better get back in that ambulance before you get your butt to jail now. You understand me? We're going to get my patient to the hospital. You can take me to jail. We'll discuss this, okay?
It goes on for 15 minutes. And by the way, they got into town by the time he pulled him over because cop couldn't pull him over. It's a country road, 2-lane. and they're getting into town, and then he pulls them over there. And so that's why there's now a shoulder there. And then it goes on and on. More show up. And he's like, this is crazy. We got to get this woman to the hospital. And they're like, no, we're going to make a big scene out of this. Failure to yield to an emergency vehicle. You're pulling over an emergency vehicle. See, it's a government agency out of control trying to tell other groups trying to save people's lives, firefighters and paramedics, what to do. It's out of control. There's not even professional courtesy going on here. And by the way, he's mad at him about, quote, hand gestures. You can see it on the full squad car video that's 20-something minutes long, where you see the arm out the window going, come on around us, man. Then the ambulance tries to get over, starts running into the grass to let him by. He doesn't go by. It's all about he's got a point to prove. And he's going to show them. And then more show up. Can you fast forward when they start choking him? I mean, it is just simply amazing. And I'm only bringing this up to just talk about government mentality. Here it is. Yeah, let's go back to it.
Let's take my wife to the hospital. Let's get on. Let's take my wife to the hospital.
606-333, you close to break.
Highway patrol before.
I'm over here on traffic stop. The ambulance over here.
Now they're getting ready to put the woman in a car to get her to the hospital, but that's not good enough.
Anybody available?
This is crazy.
Help over here to the break.
Now again, this is all the squad car video.
You're not running code?
There's the family that shot video and the choking starts.
Sir, I'm going to ask you to step back, okay? Hey, thank you. My wife, she needs to be at the hospital. She wouldn't be in this. If he wouldn't have come out here and started, we could have been on the road about 5 minutes ago, partner. Now step back. I'm sorry to see you coming. There was a vehicle in front of me.
My mother,
over here and talk
because
to you
the
about
father
it.
and the mother was having a heart
I
attack.
didn't need your manager, whoever it is in the back, and the paramedic, whoever happens to be in charge, to get out and start obstructing, okay? You understand?
Yes, sir, I do.
He's going to jail. Yeah, you don't jump out and talk to a state trooper like that. You understand me? I don't care who you are. You're not running code. You're not running emergency, okay?
Right.
All right, I didn't just get up behind you and tailgate you and turn on my red lights and siren. I've been going hot over here to help the county out. You understand?
Yes, sir, I do.
So he's saying, yes, sir, all of it means nothing. And then more come and they start choking him. And literally, it's like you've joined the Marine Corps. They're wearing Marine Corps drill sergeant hats. And it just goes on and on. And then they're going to scream at you like you signed up for boot camp. I mean, it is so ridiculous. Now they're like looking for something in the ambulance to go after people for. Now, here's where the choking starts. Go ahead. Yeah, here's the police jumping on the paramedic now and choking him. All right, that's enough. We've got the cell phone footage up on Infowars.com in the article where you can see it where the family shot it from 10 feet back where they're choking him and saying, don't resist. I mean, it's just a complete joke. It's a bunch of... Because, by the way, the trooper was scared of the big guy who was bigger than him when he was by himself. So when 4 more troopers show up, then they start choking him. I mean, it is just the height of cowardice, the height of weakness. And, I mean, I just thank God this stuff has never happened to me because I literally flip out when a bunch of bullies are there starting a fight with you and saying that you're the one causing the problem. Look at him choking this guy. And the guy's being totally calm. The state police just wish that he would fight back so they could kill him. But you know what? The public all saw this. Look at this. I mean, talk about cowardice right there. This guy really wants to dominate the paramedic who wants to take the woman having a heart attack to the hospital. I mean, what a punk. What a disgrace. What a piece of crap. What a coward. What a coward. I bet he wouldn't get in a boxing ring with that guy.
Clean water at home. Clean water at...
The men and women of the force are out there battling paramedics, firefighters, and writing old ladies' tickets. Now they're becoming federalized under Obama and trying to take on the Tea Party. Stand behind them. Stand against George Washington. Stand against the Bill of Rights and Constitution. Stand with the New World Order. We're here to help. Being a little bit sarcastic. Again, I want to be statistically accurate here for everybody. The most awake group is the military. That's because they are in the real world. They know what's really going on. They're not stupid. The next most awake group is police officers. On average, police officers are some of the best people I run into, some of the best people I know. It's a really hard job. But they are trying to warp them and turn them into mindless enforcers so that they will follow any order. It's like zero tolerance where a kid has a cupcake that looks like a gun. You know, the icing looks like a gun, so you're kicked out of school. Or you bring a Lego gun that's a ½ inch long, you know, for your Lego toy, or it's in your lunchbox and the police come. It's all about just mindlessness. Or the neighbors, you know, you're shooting a gun on your 200-acre ranchette and the neighbor doesn't like it and calls the police and they still come out and still arrest you. That happens in Texas all the time. Well, they felt threatened, hearing the gunshots. Sorry, you're going to jail. That is happening all the time. And that's why they have, quote, zero tolerance, is so that the police have no discretion. And then they can have whatever federal edict they want roll down to the local department with federal grants, and now the police are robots. There's a war on the press everywhere. There's a war on people filming in public, and we're sick of it. It's like the NSA in San Antonio or in Salt Lake City with my reporters going, what are you doing filming the facility? Well, we're here to draw attention to it and cover it. We're with Infowars.com. Yeah, we know who you are. What are... You can't film us. Oh, really? You can steal all my data publicly and get caught and not get in trouble? But we're not supposed to aim a camera at your front gate? Well, you could be a terrorist. Oh, you mean like the terrorist the government publicly runs? It's all a hoax. It's all a power grab. It's all a Rand Corporation plan. Go read the Civilian Inmate Labor Camp Program. Go read the Emergency Centers Establishment Act. Go read the National Police Stabilization Force. Go read it. Go read it. Go read it. Go read it. Go read how they put the poison in the water to brain damage you by the White House Science Czar, Cass Sunstein. Just type in White House Science Czar, poison in the water. It'll be his book. He's proud of it. He told you what he's doing. That's why I get so angry and frustrated. I know the plan. I know I'm right. I know where we're going. And they're using the American people's goodwill to sell this evil. By the way, I'm going to start the next hour, cover a bunch of news, economic news, world news, the good news, the bad news, the ugly news. I didn't mean to go off on a jag about arresting firefighters. It's just total insanity. And them choking that paramedic and then telling him not to resist as he's just going, come on, man. All because he dared to go, come on, let us get on down the road. Woman's having a heart attack. You respect my authority, boy. That's crazy land. Now, I'm going to stop right there and just remind you that we're listener supported, and your support is so needed. And we plus sell the best products. The Pro 1 Pro Pure has a 2.0 out, cuts out the glyphosate, the fluoride, annihilates the competition. It's the best you can get, period. Not best you can get for the price, best you can get, period, at a very affordable price that also beats leading competitors. InfoWarsStore.com for the Pro 1 systems. InfoWarsLife.com for our proprietary supplements, the incredible Nascent Iodine that's done so much for myself and my family, and just so, it's invigorating. I can work twice as hard on this stuff. It's amazing. And we've got the Super Male Vitality, the Fluoride Shield, all available at InfoWarsLife.com. There's videos that break it down there as well. Stay with us.
Thank you for...
Coming up, my son did a 5-minute report for InfoWars Nightly News, and I'd give him an A+. He's done about 6-7 reports for us. He's going to start doing them every week. He's done about 6-7 reports over the last few years, and Mama's letting him come to work with me one day a week, so we're going to be having Rex come up with the ideas of what he wants to cover, what he wants to get into. I'd say he contributed about 50% to the writing and finding the articles, and then learning how to edit with John Bowen, who's taking him under his wing, doing a great job here in the office. Some people say, hey, his mic sounds overdriven, or you can hear him breathing. Well, I mean, he came in here with the script that he wrote with us and read it pretty much in 1.5 takes. He had to reread a few things a couple times, and, you know, this is him doing it. I mean, soon, I plan in 6 months to have Rex, my son, able to do the editing, the audio, everything. I mean, we're training him to be a reporter at age 11. And yes, he wears a Guy Fawkes mask because Mama don't want his face seen yet, which I agree with. But, I mean, I say no guts, no glory. Fortune favors the bold. And our fortune is liberty, so I just say show his face. But we'll see what happens. I mean, she's probably right. erring on the side of prudence is probably the best way to go. Boehner claims, the man who, I'm not going to say it, let's just say he likes Obama. Boehner has a for Obama. And the whole point here is that these guys play, what, CJ? No, I'm just seeing you shaking your head. You're right. You're supposed to keep me in check. Family show, I apologize. I didn't say it, though. The whole much I did think it. Anyways, and you were all thinking it. And Boehner has a for Obama and for treason. I mean, he has a for treason. He looks like with a good tan. So does Obama. Obama kind of looks like a dog wiener or something. All right, I'm sorry. I'm going to stop right there. I mean, like a hot dog. A dog. I can't handle these people anymore. I apologize, ladies and gentlemen. I got to have some humor. I'm going to go crazy. I am going to go crazy. I am going to go crazy. When we come back, I'm going to give the number out because some stations don't carry the first 5 minutes. I want to give the number out for everybody to just call in and basically plug whatever you want and sound like you are drunk at 12 noon and just to mumble. No, I'm joking. We want to go to first-time callers who actually have something to say about all the incredible news we've been breaking down. But the fact is, Boehner is saying he's dropping amnesty for the illegals. That's only to kill opposition so they can try to sneak it through. That's a standard trick of this is not an assault as the tank rolls over your position. So Boehner says no immigration deal until Obama enforces laws. And of course, how do you enforce the laws when the illegals have already been legalized by fiat, which is true. And I mean, that's what's crazy about this is, again, if we had 30 million illegals and they weren't going to be put on welfare, a lot of them, or vote to turn us all into California. I mean, let's say there was a shade of people that was green, because we mainly talk about Latin Americans because that's the majority. If there were green people, and I mean, I'll be honest, if there were Martians that were humanoid and they liked guns and freedom and everything, I would actually invite them to our planet. And of course, they would then give us space travel, advanced technology. I would go, hang out with them on Mars. But if they were like the commie liberals, I would declare war on Mars. And, that's really what this comes down to, is that don't run, we are your friends. Remember in Mars Attacks? That's basically what it's like. Don't run, we're your friends. I won't sign NDAA. Okay. You disintegrate. Because it works. They say, don't run, so they stop. They shoot them. Don't run. Obamacare. You can keep your doctor. There's no death panels. There are death panels. We've got some good news. Speaker of the House, John A. I Love Obama Boehner, says no immigration deal until Obama enforces laws. And that's probably rhetoric to get the opposition to die down, because they're going to legalize 30 million illegals at least, many of them aggravated felons on record. It's the same plan Bush had, same plan the Republican leadership's always wanted, to fully drive down wages, to accelerate the giant second sound that Ross Perot told us about. Now, listen, Larry, this is not a good deal for America. And then Al Gore would go, it is a good deal, Larry. Well, we all know it isn't a good deal. But you cannot legalize all these illegals and then let them have bank accounts with no ID and all the rest of it while citizens are literally under the gun. You know how to get around the police license plate readers. A lot of people have suspended licenses, don't have insurance. You wonder why you're constantly getting pulled over, because they're phasing into almost all the police cars license plate readers. Little bitty camera that's reading your license plate instantly. Now, if you put Mexican plates off a salvage yard on your car, you are God. I mean, I've gotten a bunch of people that are friends and family that do this now. I mean, we're not just playing games. I don't have Mexican plates on my car. Or you can simply get online, they're not even fake, just like Christians' license plates that are in Latin and the police think that's Spanish, and you are invisible. Invisible. God-like. You are now an illegal alien. You are now God. It's diplomatic immunity, because the globalists want open borders. They want to drive down the wages. They want a political group to become a new political action committee for the New World Order. And that's why you go to the emergency room with top-of-the-line insurance, you're going to wait an hour. The illegals just walk right in front of you. Happened to my buddy Shane a few weeks ago with his daughter when she was sick. Happened with me when my finger was cut off. And, again, nothing against the illegals, except I don't like having to sit at the back of the bus. So the answer is you put your own plates on your car, and as long as it's in Spanish, you are now God level. Because the judges will tell them, I don't want illegals in here for drunk driving. I don't want illegals in here for no license registration. We give them $5 fines, $10 fines. I've talked to the high levels of the district attorney and the county attorney's office. They've been here. Insiders have been to my office repeatedly over the years asking me to do investigations on it. Do investigations I already know, where the judges are told, let the illegals go. So the answer is, buy a Mexican car or get Mexican plates from Chihuahua or wherever you want, and you are now invincible. Gotta love how dirtbag this country is and how corrupt and how the American people that follow the rules, follow the laws, bow to the government, that now the police are choking paramedics when they pull their ambulance over because they wouldn't get out of the way on a 2-lane rural highway where you can't even get off with gullies down the side. And the ambulance tries to pull over for them into the grass, and grass is flying up. You can watch the whole tape, and the cop pulls him over and then starts choking the paramedic in the back on camera, saying, don't resist, as the guy stands there while he chokes him, obviously wanting the guy to fight back so he could take him out. I mean, how cowardly is that? Why don't the police run people like that out of your profession? Because the people on top want someone in there just like that. They want to get rid of Andy Griffith, and they want to put in Judge Dredd, who serves Obama in the New World Order. Now, I want to hear from you on all these issues. There's an article up on drudgereport.com, right in the middle column. U.S. Postal Service announces giant ammo purchase. It's from Infowars.com. Post Office joins other federal agencies stockpiling 2 billion rounds of ammo. And we wrote this last night. It scrolled off, but it's in the featured news archive and the top story archive on the right-hand side of Infowars.com. It's so important to click on that top stories archive because we have so many articles they scroll off. That's why I say go to drudgereport.com because it's easy to find, third or fourth linked right in the middle column. And that ties into the Aberdeen News. Ammo shortage explodes. Ammunition still difficult to find in wake of Sandy Hook shootings as citizens believe that the government is attempting to restrict the Second Amendment. We're not attempting to do it. It's happening. Now, I want to give out the toll-free number on that front. I want to talk about immigration. Also, Russia is seeking to soothe security fears and jitters. Well, I mean, Al-Qaeda is Western NATO run, and Al-Qaeda has been blowing stuff up. I think there is a real terror threat over there. But still, statistically, got a better chance of dying on a car wreck over there, or being mugged, or dying of food poisoning. There'll probably be 50 people of the million that show up at the Olympics, I'm guaranteed, that die of food poisoning. That's a random guesstimate number, but I mean, tens of thousands die in the U.S. and Russia every year. Look up the numbers from food poisoning. But are you all scared of that? You should be. I am. I've had food poisoning a couple times. Everybody else I know gets it all the time. Listen, I don't eat at dirty restaurants. And I don't eat leftovers. I mean, I'll eat leftovers like on Thanksgiving, I'll eat food right then at like noon, and then I'll eat it again at nighttime, and then I'm done with it. And I don't get food poisoning, knock on wood. But the bottom line is, I don't eat in big chain places either. That's where you get food poisoning. Oh, I hate it. And I'm digressing. Putin's moment at world podium, that's why the globalists want to embarrass him. The hotels are falling apart. I mean, it's really a bad area of Russia that they're hanging out in. Feds warn Sochi flights about toothpaste tube bombs. There's a race to kill stray dogs before Friday's opening. You know, we do that here as well. Putin's girlfriend may light the Olympic torch. Got to love that. You're going to have, is that nepotism or cronyism? I guess that'd be cronyism. We're going to skip this network break and play Rex Jones's report here. And I'd give it an A+, other than the fact that the audio is overdriven. But we're going to fine-tune this each time. Because quite frankly, I just came and turned the mic on and walked out, or I should have been listening that he was overdriving on the mic. My fault, but it just shows how he's pretty much, doing this on his own with the help of John Bound with the editing. And his report breaks down the fact that they always try to condition the youth to be servants of the authoritarian state. Now they're trying to neutralize youth and turn them into mindless people out of the movie WALL-E who just lay around all day and watch television and don't understand entrepreneurial enjoyment. And so we're going to go to his report. But the toll-free number to join us here on air is 800-259-9231, 800-259-9231. And we will talk about any of these issues that we have been raising and a bunch of other news as well. But first off, let's now go to... Oh, and by the way, that's first-time callers, I should add. I want to give first-time callers a chance, 800-259-9231. But right now, let's go ahead and go to this report on the war on entrepreneurship, the war on barter, the war on us communicating with each other outside of a Walmart. Here it is.
Throughout history, authoritarian regimes have wanted to control the youth and condition them, to spy on their parents and to join Hitler Youth. Publications like Forbes and The Week have asked the question, why is there a war on lemonade stands? We're going to answer that important question. An 11-year-old girl's lucrative cupcake business is in limbo. She was prohibited from selling cupcakes that were made in her home and had not made anyone sick. A 4-year-old Iowa girl had her lemonade stand shut down by local police. Her crime? She had been selling lemonade at 25 cents a cup for less than half an hour and probably didn't make much more than $5. Police informed her that a permit would cost $400. In protest to this kooky and insane attack on an American tradition, August 20th is now unofficially National Lemonade Freedom Day. In Virginia, Martha Bonita was threatened with $5,000 per day fines for such horrific crimes as hosting a birthday party for 8 10-year-olds on her rural property without a permit and for advertising pumpkin carvings. In response, Delegate Bob Marshall introduced HB 1219 into the Virginia General Assembly. It states, local officials who abuse zoning authority powers to cower citizens into submission and deprive landowners of constitutional rights in the enjoyment of their land must be subject to fines and actual damages that they cause, including attorney fees. Colorado students and their parents are furious at their high school after administrators rejected their request for a Spirit Week Day honoring America because it might offend non-Americans. In essence, the high school leaned on the side of racism rather than to allow patriotism to flourish. An 11-year-old Oregon girl, Madison Root, tried to help her father pay for expensive braces by selling mistletoe over the holidays. According to her father, the private security guard hired to oversee the Portland security market told her to simply beg for money rather than to sell mistletoe. Her father stated he does not want to encourage begging and wants people to earn their living. She is so keen on high work ethic. Madison confirmed this. I don't want to beg. I'd rather work for something than beg. People are selling stuff. This is a public place. Despite this reprimanding of her business, she now has 38, and I did say 38, people working for her at a decent $9 an hour. The answer to these attacks is to buy local and support small businesses in your community. The establishment would have you buying big box store goods from Foxconn slave factories. Vote with your dollars and buy local American goods and organic foods. Young people, don't let them intimidate you and stop you from becoming free market. Get outside, stop playing video games and watching TV, and start interacting with the real world. Don't let your brain fall into decay and rot like so many others already have. Start your own business, write your own book, start a garden, become a voice for your fellow Americans. The people are fighting back against the globalist movement to outlaw grassroots bartering into extinction.
Hi, I'm Rex Jones, and I'm part of the resistance to tyranny. You too are part of the resistance to tyranny. And remember, if you are watching this transmission, you are the resistance.
All right, folks, we are back live here. Again, thank you so much for joining us. That is Rex Jones's report. He certainly is excited to be part of the show, and he is absolutely kicking butt on every front, and most of that was his own research. It's incredible to see how he's 11 and has a much greater grasp of adult things than most adults I know. I've taken him out to some meetings with pretty high-powered corporate people, and he sits there and holds conversations with them for hours. These are adults, owners of major companies, you name it, and they're just completely blown away. Hey, guys, my earpiece went out, so if you guys will just bring me or get another one ready. I'm having a lot of problems day after day now with this system. I think it's going out. So for now, I'll just go without headphones. All right, continuing here with the news and information. Again, I said I would take your phone calls. We'll do that at the start of the next segment. Again, going over the news that is on Infowars.com. Rand Paul, Obama is transforming U.S. into a socialist nightmare. That's what I like to hear. That is exactly telling it like it is. You know, we have this predisposed idea that if something's real radical, it's almost rude to say it or to just spell it out like, yeah, the government ships in most of the drugs, but that's really no big deal. Let's still arrest people that get caught using them. Or, yeah, the government is funding most of the Taliban and Al-Qaeda and other groups, but, you know, so what? They're trying to keep us safe, taking our rights away. We just have to have a break with the system and tell it like it is. Obama is frightening and dangerous. Obama is becoming a dictator. Obama is a con man for foreign banks, robbing people through Obamacare, that does double, triple, quadruple prices, that does get rid of your doctor. He is a liar. He is a plague. He is a fraud. He is a scam. He is a disease. He represents the takeover of our society by trendy con artists and fraud. It is anathema. So we're going to be playing that video coming up. Rand Paul, Obama is transforming U.S. into a socialist nightmare. Yes, turn up the rhetoric to meet the level of the fraud that we're dealing with. That is the answer. In a recent interview with Newsmax, Kentucky Senator Rand Paul hit it out at President saying that his policies are stifling freedom in America and creating a socialist nightmare. Well, he struck back at the tyrant and told it like it was. It's hard to imagine exactly what his goal is, because when you talk to him one-on-one, he sounds reasonable and like he's not trying to transform America into some socialist nightmare, Paul stated. The senator described Obama's policies as transformative, adding that he is changing us from a country that was a marketplace and freedom of choice to a country that is stifled by coercion and mandates. Paul has a huge issue with the way Obama seems determined to continually bypass Congress and take executive action to do blithely whatever he wants and thinks he can get away with, close quote. Pointing specifically to Obama changing aspects of the Affordable Care Act without congressional approval. Yeah, that is 100% dictator activity. Paul said basically he pushes the limit to whatever he thinks he can get and won't be rebuked. And finally, what is Boehner saying because of pressure? You know, Boehner put out that meme a few weeks ago about Obama has his pen and phone, we have the Constitution. Everybody went, well, then why aren't you stopping him, Boehner? Why aren't you stopping him, buddy? So now Boehner is out today saying no immigration deal until Obama enforces laws. Exactly. We're going to legalize the tens of millions of illegals that are here and give you all benefits and give you a driver's license and let you vote illegally. They've been caught doing it everywhere. That'll fix the immigration problem. Yeah. I mean, they already admit, since they announced this in the last year, that it's record level illegals pouring across. And Obama has already, by fiat, legalized most of the illegals and is not deporting them. And I know there's sad stories, and I know it's rough. If I tried to go to Mexico and live there and be on welfare, they'd deport me after they shook me down. I mean, we have the most open borders, the most open policies in the world, and then we've been guilted by people like Sotomayor to say that to call illegals illegals is racist and mean. No, it's not. No, it's not. I can't go to Mexico and have a baby paid for at the hospital. U.S. citizens, whether you're Hispanic, black, white, Asian, I don't care. If you're a U.S. citizen, you don't get all that stuff for free. I am sick of it. Here's the quote, Sotomayor. Labeling illegal immigrants criminals is insulting. You anti-gun communist witch, are the one that's insulting. By the way, she's not even a communist, ladies and gentlemen. She's the fake left where all these ultra-rich are above the law, tax-exempt. They write the laws to be exempt and then use the laws to shut down their competition. That's what the new world order is. But now Boehner says, listen, there's widespread doubt about whether this administration can be trusted to enforce our laws. Boehner, you've been supporting the immigration thing that Obama wants because it's the Republican plan of Bush. See, notice how he plays both sides and knows the public's ignorant. So, I mean, this would just be legalizing the illegals. So then he's acting like this plan would actually enforce the law, but he's just worried Obama won't enforce it. But there's no teeth in it to begin with. See, it's fraud within frauds. That's what it is to be a politician, a scam artist. You know, to say something that sounds like it has substance when it has the opposite. Quoting Boehner, listen, there's widespread doubt about whether this administration can be trusted to enforce our laws, and it's going to be difficult to move any immigration legislation until that changes, the Ohio Republican told reporters at his weekly press conference. That came exactly a week after Boehner had appeared to jumpstart the debate by releasing principles for an immigration deal that included granting most illegal immigrants legal status and giving younger illegal immigrants a specific pathway to citizenship. But this week, Mr. Boehner has seemed much less optimistic. Yeah, that's to kill opposition that they know is mounting. Now, when we come back from break, we're going to talk to Peter, Ed, Joe, Richard, Corey, and many, many others. And then I've got all this other news. White House Press Secretary Jay Carney calls freedom a buzzword. That's right. When you talk about Constitution or freedom or liberty, you know, that's a buzzword. I mean, you know, who wants that? Who wants due process? Who wants law and order? Who wants an orderly system that follows the, you know, common sense laws? No, let's let Jay Carney, who represents this criminal enterprise, say and do whatever he wants. We're going to go to break here in just a moment and then come back and take your calls. As I said, I skipped that network break. I want to remind folks here that this hour is brought to you by the best storable foods company out there. And that's why I have them as a sponsor. I store their food, mypatriotsupply.com/Alex. It's non-GMO, organic, put together right here in the good old U.S. of A. And their prices are just phenomenally reasonable. We've got a lot of other key survival items, stores for 25 years. mypatriotsupply.com/Alex, or you can call 866-229-0927. But you do not want to be dependent on the system, mypatriotsupply.com/Alex. Then briefly, I cannot stress to you, in fact, I'm going to take some right now. I always forget to do this until I'm actually on air. I actually took some of the iodine this morning at 7 a.m. when I got up. But this is the proprietary nascent iodine, exclusively available at InfoWarsLife.com, InfoWars Survival Shield. I take 3 times the recommended dose. I do not recommend you do that. I took the regular FDA, you know, recommended dose, allotted dose, and for about 3 weeks, and then kind of had the detox stuff for a few weeks. Just kind of my stomach hurting a little bit, and you know, I mean, detoxing stuff coming out of my skin, you name it. Most people have that happen. I forget the name of the effect they call it, but then after that, just incredible. I'm working harder, staying up later, doing more. I just personally, it's blown my socks off. And you've heard the rave reviews from listeners. That is not hype. This is the real deal. And the great part about it is it funds our operation. InfoWarsLife.com, the signature product, Survival Shield, True Nascent Iodine. And we also have Super Male Vitality. And Super Male Vitality is, well, simply amazing. And it's got all the key ingredients that are well-known, truly organic, concentrated to boost male and female vitality. And, well, it's something that if you try it, believe me, you'll continue to buy it and support the broadcast. And we have Fluoride Shield. It's got the nascent iodine and 5 other key ingredients to take out the fluoride, heavy metals, you name it. They can all be taken together, but check with your physician if you have any issues. You can also call 888-253-3139 to order on the phone.
We're
But you know what Jay Carney said. White House Press Secretary Carney calls freedom a buzzword. This is out of the Examiner. Reacting to reports that says Obamacare will lower work hours because it lowers the hourly threshold and Americans must work harder to obtain health care. White House Press Secretary Jay Carney called freedom a buzzword. Freedom's just another buzzword for nothing left to lose. And you ain't got nothing if you ain't got buzzwords. Isn't that how the song went? It's not anything but an added choice that they have that allows them more freedom to use a certain buzzword. More choice, he said. Talk about double speak. By the way, you brought that in yesterday, and I meant to show it, Chris Jordan. They have new Obama ads for the Affordable Care Act. Notice how it is the opposite of affordable. The Patriot Act's the opposite of patriotic. It's all a sick joke, folks. And it's like ads about, yeah, helps you get more. Talking about sex. And then there's another one like, Mama loves her jeans and she loves her Obamacare. And then I went to the website, and they're really putting out this cheesy, weird, trendy stuff. Like, hey, we like handlebar mustaches, too, and socks that don't match. You know, that's the ultra-trendy thing right now, of course. Everybody's got big beards, too. I'm not against facial hair, folks. I just don't get all these guys that have beards. I guess the movie 300 made it popular. And they always bug their eyes out at you like their beard's going to kick your butt or something. I could grow one hell of a beard, look like Gandalf if I wanted to, but I just itches and stuff. Yeah, there it is. That's from healthcare.gov. Mom loves her comfy jeans. She also loves it when you have health insurance. And that was like that ad they produced where the parents want to talk to their kid and they call her over. They go, you really need to do this. And then she's like, oh, I agree. And they're like, oh, my gosh. It's like so cheesy and so opportunistic and so fraudulent. I mean, look at how horrible Obamacare has been. Do you see Boehner trying to repeal it? No. You've got the Republican leadership trying to suppress the Libertarian Tea Party on immigration, on Obamacare, on everything. On the power grab by the executive. I dread if they get a Chris Christie in or a Rubio, and they are just going to run over us with police state. And suddenly all the conservatives who hate Democrats so much, they'll go, well, that's all right if Rubio wants my guns, because at least it isn't Hillary Clinton, Alex. Get with the program, man. So stinking frustrating. Now, the one on screen now is a parody, Obamacare, the empire knows best. And it's got the Obama rising sun symbol of Thulsa Doom. Maybe Obama really is Thulsa Doom, and David Icke's right, and he turns into a snake. All right, ladies and gentlemen, Thulsa Doom on his mountain of power. She have a dagger from my heart. Max von Sydow. Start quoting Max von Sydow. We ought to play the intro from Conan the Barbarian. After the sea swallowed Atlantis and before the rise of the sons of Ares, there was a time of great adventure. Well, let me tell you something, folks. You are living in a time of great adventure. Let's go ahead and take your phone calls. Peter, in California, you're on the air. Go ahead.
Alex, how you doing?
Pretty good, brother.
Man, I'll tell you what, you weren't joking about 6th Street down there. I was just down in your parts about a week and a half ago. Actually met up with Leanne McAdoo and John Bound at the protest there at City Hall against the fluoride. Did you guys ever find out what happened with that, by the way?
We are fighting to try to get it out. There's lawsuits being filed, a lot more. It's just an ongoing process, but fluoride's getting pulled out in major cities from Canada to Europe to the United States, so we're on the march overall. But, yeah, I would advise everyone, like they have a travel advisory finally, to not go to Mexico, anywhere it's so dangerous. I would say anywhere on 8th, 7th, and 6th Street, where it meets 35, if you're looking to be mobbed, stabbed, rolled, in the old days, people would go roll gays because I guess they thought it was acceptable. They weren't human to beat them up and rob them. and people did something about it, and they should. Now they roll white people. And, I mean, I'm just going to tell you, black folks, because I know work people that live down there, work down there, it goes on almost every night, roll whites. And I don't blame them, because if you see a trendy, long-haired liberal They walk over and test them and call them names, and then they beg and go, come on, bro, I'm down. I hate white people too. Then they know they're defenseless and they attack. I mean, it'd basically be like lions would go after gazelles with no legs or horns. You know, kind of like a cheeseburger out the window. And then they beat them up on the ground. They beg and roll around while they kick them. They don't even fight back. It is the most pathetic display ever. And they've got news reports. This is happening a lot. So if you want to get stabbed or you want to get mugged, go down by the police station. Because the cops are all in there, you know, doing whatever they do. And just right in front of the police station, if you want to be attacked. See, they can't see it, though, because blacks cannot do anything bad to whites. Racism's only from white people. It's kind of like the black folks drug a white guy to death till his head came off as well on the same stretch of road a year after the white guys drugged the black guy to death. And the white guys all got the death penalty. But the issue is no one ever knew. There was one article in the local paper. That was it. And I agree. Dragging a white person to death is not a big deal. And, you know, if you don't go out there and help tie them up to the vehicle, then you're racist. So I think all white people should be drugged behind vehicles till they're dead. And so, again, I want to advise everyone, if you want to go down and be racially attacked and prove that you're sad that you're white, go down to where 6th, 7th, 8th, and 5th, right there. Go down there at about midnight, right where it meets I-35, and just go stand under a street light, and you will be stabbed, beaten, and robbed. And I think it's wonderful. So go on down there. I'm sorry, Peter, you said, what did you see on 6th Street? Was it a lot of fun?
I mean, it was mayhem. I mean, it was Bourbon Street meets, you know, Carnival or something down in Brazil. It was just every other night. I was there for about a week and a half, and like you said, I mean, every other night there was just huge fights. I mean, thankfully, I was on my survival shield, so I think the people were just partying like the Red Sea when I was walking down. I was just feeling so on fire. But
well, you know, also, I don't think you didn't need any super male vitality.
Well, all I have is a survival shield right now, and I mean, I'd love to do the super male vitality, but I'm not sure I would. I'd stay on the ground if I had that stuff in me.
Well, thank you for coming down and joining Leanne and the crew down there to protest the fluoride. God bless you, brother. Ed in Canada, you're on the air. Go ahead.
Hey, Alex, how you doing?
I'm doing all right, brother. Excellent.
Been a long time fan ever since the days I've seen you on Waking Life, and been following you ever since. And I really love how you provide relevant news in a historical context.
Well, God bless you, brother. What is on your mind today? Do you think freedom's a buzzword?
I do. The police state is on my mind. You know, I'm concerned about it like everyone else. I've had run-ins like many people, and once you do, and once your rights are violated, your eyes are really open to how frequent and easy it can occur.
Well, that's right, and they're violating the 4th Amendment, 5th, 10th. A lot of police departments don't, but a lot do. And the point is the system wants them to be like that. It's a trend. It's getting worse. And why do we have a Bill of Rights then if you guys think it can be trampled on? Go ahead.
Exactly. Well, I like to think on things and come up with any solutions I can, and I'd like to propose what could be a potential solution.
All right, brother, tell me.
Cool. I'm a bit of a web developer, but it would basically be a website that would basically be the premise would be almost like baseball cards of violating police officers that just give down their stats, give their names, and then incorporate some type of form where people could petition or people of that town could get awareness and then potentially bring that officer to charges or at least removed from duty.
No, I get it. We can make like a digital baseball card and throw the stats up there. And that's the kind of thing that would catch on with the public to try to... But, I mean, it's so arrogant now, like out where they killed that, you know, homeless guy, the son of the cop. After they were found not guilty, the police basically celebrated it and arrested people protesting peacefully. So... I don't know. I mean, the cops would probably try to do worse things, some of them, to get more baseball stats. I mean, have you ever thought about that?
Sadly, yeah. But I think the real benefit would come in, and like it is disgusting that anyone can be murdered or violated by a police officer without recourse to the criminal officer. But I think the real benefit would come in as creating a record of all the incidences that usually just get lost in the you know, so much news nowadays, and then people could, on their free will, stumble across these things or just check it out. And
sir, you just said a unauthorized FCC banned word. You just said, get ready to delay, get ready to delay. I'm going to say it, though, for the internet streams. Free will. Damn, that is dirty, dirty, dirty.
Yeah.
It's almost as dirty as saying John Boehner. You know, do you know now, like if you find rotten mayonnaise in the back of your refrigerator, it's now called John Boehner. I don't know why, it's just something gross. And Obama, what should we call Obama? We should give him some disgusting nickname. Because it's good to denigrate and desecrate these idols of the state. What do we want to call, let's call Obama henceforth Dog Vomit. How's that sound?
Yeah.
President Dog Vomit.
Yeah.
I'm serious. It's important to defile the enemy. What should we call him? The lying serpent, the snake king? What should we call him?
I don't know. Something to do with a puppet or Pinocchio or who knows.
I guess Pinocchio is a good name for him. I appreciate your call. Very interesting, Ed. Richard in Canada, you're on the air worldwide, sir. How may I serve you?
How are you doing, Alex?
I'm an extremist. I admit it.
Well, you know, you're very entertaining, and sometimes when you get on a roll, it's pretty funny. But we want to thank you from up here for all the good work you're doing. And, oh, by the way, the perfect name for Obama is Obummer.
Yeah, Obummer's a good name. Oh, vomit, oh, liar, oh, fraudster,
yeah.
Oh, scam artist.
Obama kind of rolls off the tongue just nicely. But what I wanted to talk to you today about, Alex, if I could just for a moment, is free energy devices. I don't know if your listeners have watched the 2-hour video on the thrive.com site, but the guy...
No, we sell the film Thrive on DVD. It's excellent.
Yeah. He states on there have been about 5,000 devices suppressed by... You know, world powers.
Well, I've seen the documentary, and I've been down there. We did a news report on it years ago. We got to dig that up or go back down there. The University of Texas has created, with magnets in their research laboratories, we're one of the main centers, near-free energy devices. The problem is, how do you put them in a car? How do you mobilize them? How do you roll them out? And there's no government funding behind it, basically. The UT stuff is privately funded. And absolutely, and there's another problem, though. There's so many con artists involved in it, knowing the public's interested in it. There's so many frauds where people collect money, claiming they're going to build it and deploy it, and then they don't. That gives it a bad name.
The only way it could work is if it was given away for free.
Yeah, the blueprints for it, the blueprints, but then who builds these systems, and then how do you deploy them into households?
Well, if everybody, you know, there's a lot of little handymen who build stuff in their garages and basements. If you had people starting to build this stuff, it would eventually get around. It would be disseminated to everyone. And this would totally destroy the world financial structure, big oil, big banks. They would all go bankrupt.
Well, my issue is I just want to absorb them and evolve energy-wise out of these old toxic systems. And they know we want to get out of the system, so they come out with all these fake green initiatives that are just more boondoggles. You know, electric cars that get their power from coal. I mean, it's a total joke. And they get special parking spots or on high horses. What a joke. That social engineering's failing. They've got the Solyndra scams, the windmills that don't work and kill all the wildlife and are absolute eyesores. And then just, you know, I mean, absolutely, it's crazy. And we should get more real people on about some of the new energy systems. But look at wind power. It doesn't work to have it 50 miles away and try to have giant power. But if it's on batteries at your house, you control it, use it as supplemental. It's incredible in places like Texas. But that's a windmill for you, or a windmill to pump water, or a windmill to supply, say, your air conditioning. That is the answer. But when you try to do that, they send regulators out to harass you. They want you to have windmills and hydroelectric, thermal on the grid. Thank you, Richard, from Canada. Let's talk to Joe in Texas. Go ahead, sir. What's on your mind today?
How are you doing, infidel, this afternoon?
I am kind of an infidel. I don't worship the government, so.
Well, I'm an infidel myself. I'm a stay-at-home dad these days, but I'm retired military, medically, of course, served in 2007. I just kind of wanted to talk to you about the different experiences I've had waking people up, as I've been awake myself since before 9/11. Been watching you for a little longer than that. You know, both good and bad. Probably the most important one, I sat down with this gentleman and a friend of mine. Both of us were awake. He was kind of coming to it. He'd been doing his research for a couple weeks. Sorry, that's my daughter.
It doesn't matter. Let him talk. Go ahead.
Yeah, so he basically told me straight up, I understand the situation. I'm going to join the winning team. To our face. And so we never spoke to that man again. I don't know where he is these days. But
I mean, are you saying he knew about the New World Order and he made the decision to join with Sauron?
When we had first started discussing it, he was skeptical. After a couple weeks of us discussing it and showing him different videos and him doing his own research, that was his answer.
Yeah, no, a lot of people, and I respect that. It's better than people that just say it doesn't exist and still sell out, lying to themselves, knowing that they're joining with evil, but you know, claiming to themselves it's okay. I don't like people that join with evil, but I respect them. Good, you've chosen the team you think's going to win, which, by the way, is the losing team. But go ahead.
The second instance, I go to a PTSD group. I was, like I said, in the infantry. I kicked in the doors. I've ruined people's lives. I regret that to this day.
Well, as long as you ask God for forgiveness, and I mean, you should not have any guilt.
Yes, sir. A gentleman from Vietnam goes there as well. However, his background is not just military; it's FBI, counterterrorism.
Well, I want to hear this. We're gonna come back. I want to hear this group you're in, PTSD group, what you talk about. Interesting information. Stay there. Don't hang up, Joe. Then we're going to go to Corey. Then we're going to go to Jonathan, Clarence, Thomas, so many others. First-time callers today, 800-259-9231, 800-259-9231. I want to hear about what this FBI counterterrorism guy said. By the way, folks, if you want to wake people up, we sell the InfoWars magazine in bulk in groups of 10 up to 100 or more at cost. Big, color, glossy magazine full of graphics, documents, news articles. You can get these as low as $1 a piece when you buy them in bulk to give to friends and family and wake people up. And the current issue is the police state issue. And it's got yours truly on the cover in a SWAT team outfit just to get people talking. And it's got the good, the bad, and the ugly of the police. Now we have to reach out to them in the info war to decompartmentalize them so they understand what's going on. And they're actually easier than anybody I've found to wake up other than military, because when you give them the info, then it all makes sense and they start to listen to you. Okay? Because they just want the police to do oppressive things that make us all hate them, so then it becomes a gang mentality, us against them. We have to go through that line and deprogram them, just like we've got to deprogram ourselves and the general public. And then, of course, we have the InfoWars Full Throttle Liberty centerfold with the race cars and fire and American Eagles and 50 caliber rifles. And let's just say this, any trendy communist, socialist, anti-human, fake feminist is going to really get very sick looking at this. And I don't even know why we put Leanne McAdoo on there right in the middle of the shot. I mean, I guess she just fits in with the guns and the cars and everything. But I'm being sarcastic, ladies and gentlemen. The point is, our great reporter, Leanne McAdoo, with a double 50 cals, we got to get her out shooting sometime. And with the rest of the crew, get Jakari out shooting and get David Knight out shooting the 50 cals with my buddy Steiner. But there's the cover. InfoWarsStore.com to get the magazine, to get the Wake Up America coffee that I think is the best coffee out there, bar none. And remember, your purchase makes the broadcast possible. Okay, so we got a former military vet. Said he was a door kicker in, I guess, the Iraq, or was it Afghanistan gun confiscations. He can tell us, and he was saying he goes to a PTSD group with an FBI counterterrorism guy, probably there to spy on all you guys, or I don't know, he might be a nice guy. A lot of FBI guys are actually not bad people. But tell us what he told you. Go ahead.
Just a little backstory. I was in Sadr City, Iraq, and was a year after they had put a ceasefire up through the British and all the criminals and Iranians had infested. But this gentleman, I didn't speak for a year going to that group. I was in a pretty bad spot, so I got to know everybody before I opened my mouth. And boy, things all changed when I did, because when I started bringing things up, he became a gatekeeper really quick. For instance, you know, I'll give a couple examples. The whole Dorner issue, he had an excuse for everything, including shooting up the vehicle, which I believe those cops are now going to be possibly reprimanded for. Other issues.
Yeah, like a car that doesn't even look like the truck they're looking for with white women in it in broad daylight. They shot up, what, 3 cars full of people that weren't even... I know why black guys were wearing shirts saying, "I'm not Dorner." I'm sorry, go ahead.
The first thing you learn is trigger discipline in the military. So I'm dumbfounded with that and how he could defend it being from a military and civilian law enforcement.
Well, you heard me guess before you told me he was there to spy on you guys, probably.
I haven't made up my mind yet. It's been a couple of years. But like I said, he's a gatekeeper, and we have, you know, different gentlemen come there from different backgrounds every era, even World War II vets. And so if anybody brings anything up that's against the establishment, you know who's going to answer. It's this guy. And he's going to answer with the party line. And that's matter of fact, never changed this man's mind. But he comes off, you know, as a nice guy, truly believes it. So, I can't make up my mind with him. But on the same token, I've stood at parade rest in the military in a battalion formation and discussed how if we were going to have any more discussion about mutiny, then heads would roll. So, I mean, we come from very different backgrounds, apparently. But the third thing I wanted to bring up to him, like I said, was a third example would be Fukushima and the Navy sailors. We have Navy gentlemen in there as well.
Hold on, I want to hear this. And let me guess, the FBI guy says radiation's nutritious, probably. And Obama loves us. And Fast and Furious was good. Benghazi was good. And the government shipping the drugs in is good. I mean, these guys have joined with Sauron. Robert E. Howard, great writer, but who actually wrote that is an even greater writer, in my opinion. And that, of course, is Oliver Stone, who is a listener of this show, I've confirmed, but won't come on because of controversy. All right, that's enough. I'll stop right there. I just mentioned that earlier. Kind of like I mentioned Idiocracy, so I thought I'd play a clip of that. By the way, did you get the Mars Attack clip where they're like, "Don't run, we are your friends"? We used to have that as an outro. Cue up, "Don't run, we are your friends," because this is like Obamacare. Don't run, no death panels. Don't run, you can keep your doctor. I mean, and of course, they're then shooting people with the laser beams and laughing because they don't run when you say don't run. Joe, finishing your story. Oh, we have it. Oh, go ahead. It's Obama supporters helping. I mean, looting. I mean,
we are your friends.
This is the federal government. Let me tell you the most spied on group, it's veterans. And the minute he said there was an FBI agent in there, I said, we came back from break, and I said, let me guess, he's spying on you and messing with you. And I've actually had some FBI people give me stuff before that was good. I've had federal marshals give me stuff. So I know they're not all bad. But they're all compartmentalized, and they do what they're told. And they're convinced they're good because they're compartmentalized. And they're all about how they manage everyone so they're the winners. It's a game to play along with the system and say you're in control of it. But go ahead, Joe. Finish up your points, brother.
If anything, I would liken him to the clergy response team. The real threat is the doctors. 30 minutes or less, better than dominoes. You're going to walk out with some mind-altering drug.
Yeah, and they do that so they can then take your rights away down the road. The New Freedom Initiative wants to put half of Americans on drugs by 2020.
Fighting that battle, I've been forced on every single one of them. Beside the point, about Fukushima, and the clergy response team was the only thing that he couldn't rebut. So,
yeah, you can play a newscast where the clergy response teams that we documented with Pastor Butch Paul 3 years before it was in the news. They literally go to the FEMA camp, turn in your guns, take the inoculations. And then now we have the preachers on TV going, go to the camp, take the shots of the Lord. And there's just these little soft, lazy guys that work 2 days a week, and they're going to hell. I mean, I'm not trying to judge them, but I'm telling you, they're Pharisees, and if Christ was here, he'd beat them with bullwhips. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Sidetracking on that, the guy was dumbfounded last week because they gave him a letter in the mail, said he couldn't have guns anymore. He come to our group asking why. Basically, he said, you know, a neighbor had been bothering him, called the cops on him, and he said, boy, come on my property, and I'll take care of you. And so his preacher, who he confessed that to because he's a religious man,
of course,
basically called the cops on him, and now they've removed his right to
Yeah, psychologists now will not keep the info, doctors, and they'll twist anything. And a lot of them are government operatives. Listen, every dentist my dad knows, in the last 3 years, they tried to recruit him for Homeland Security. And when they tried to recruit my dad, he goes, is this because who my son is? They didn't even know that. They're like, no, Dr. Jones, you know, I've been coming to you for 10 years. There's money. He goes, well, who do I spy on? Criminal activity? He goes, no, one of their politics. Keep tabs on everyone. Come to our meetings. We're going to meet over at the FBI office. They're going to give my dad a little badge and money, and he's going to... And most of them took the deal. Because, like, I'm honored to be a secret agent. Secret agent, man. Meanwhile, the government runs the terrorist, runs the drugs, runs it all. I mean, what a sick joke. We got a big victory coming up. Stay with us. Look at how good trioxin is. It turns everybody into zombies. What's wrong with having plastic softeners in the Subway bread? Well, ladies and gentlemen, we are joined by Ms. Hari, the food babe, who was on with us 2 days ago when she launched her big national campaign. She's had many helpful campaigns, and I would say our audience contributed to that, so I'm very proud of our audience and very thankful for her. Here's USA Today. Stories up on Infowars.com, also on the left-hand side of DrudgeReport.com. It's the fourth story down on the left-hand column. Subway to remove chemical from bread. It's amazing. Vani Hari has done it again. Subway, one of the world's biggest bread bakers, is about to remove a chemical from its breads that raise the ire of influential health activist and food blogger, thefoodbabe.com. And she joins us right now. Now, they're responding saying, we'll take it out, but the FDA says we're allowed to have it in. Well, I mean, Hitler said they were allowed to line Jews up and shoot them. And our government once said it was okay to have blacks as slaves pulling plows down the road. So just because the FDA says that melamine can be in the milk, they execute you for that in China. And that, for me, is the big issue here. If you go back just 5 years ago, we could not have victories this fast. It is a collapse of the system. I go to even mainline grocery stores now, and everything advertises, we have real sugar in our ketchup. We're non-GMO, organic. They're not even trying the natural scam anymore, which means, you know, absolutely nothing. So Vani Hari joins us, a.k.a. the Food Babe, to talk about this huge victory till the bottom of the hour. Then I'll go back to your calls, Corey and Thomas and Dave and Jonathan and Clarence and everybody that's holding. But this is a big deal because less than 48 hours after she launched her campaign, what was she on Tuesday when she launched it? She launched it that day. Was it Tuesday? It was Tuesday. Amazing. So here we are on Thursday, and they've now announced, as of last night, and USA Today came out with it today, that they're going to do this. But it's no big deal. Well, the key is this is banned in every other country. It's only authorized here, and there's so many other plastic emulsifiers and silicone derivatives and precursors in the McNuggets, you name it. It's all falling like a house of cards, and it shows the power of we the people to change what's happening in civilization. We can do it, ladies and gentlemen. We can expose that St. John's wort in double-blind studies for 20 years is better than Prozac. Why are they putting people on Prozac and all these other drugs? Because they want to take your rights away later, folks. We have to have a revolution against that, a revolution against federalization of police, a revolution against the fake drug war, a revolution against globalism and banker bailouts, a revolution against Warren Buffett and the big tax and spend fake liberals promoting higher taxes because they're exempt from them and get the taxpayer money. We're having a revolution, a renaissance of awakening, and I am so excited. I thought it'd take a few weeks for her to have a victory on this, but she is so focused and has got such a great grassroots support base on her Facebook and Twitter and on her website. And, you know, shows like ours that she was able to hammer this out there, and they're running scared. Great job. Tell us about what's unfolded and what's happened.
Well, thank you so much, Alex. You know, what was so critical, you know, I launched the petition right about noon on Tuesday, and I was on this program, I think, within the next hour or two. And it was really fascinating to see all of your supporters and everyone coming over to join the petition. And I can't tell you how many personal emails that I got from the InfoWars folks to say, you know, they heard me on this program. They were so upset about plastic and their Subway sandwiches and that they were going to speak out about it. So I just want to personally thank you and all of your listeners and everybody who follows InfoWars. Alex, your team and your support has been amazing. It is absolutely unheard of that any company has responded this quick in history, not to mention get 50,000 signatures on a petition within 24 hours. People were very visibly upset about this once they found out that Subway wasn't using this chemical for everybody else across the globe, but only using it for us. They were really upset about this double standard, not to mention that this chemical in bread is the same stuff in yoga mat on the bottom of your shoes. It causes cancer because when it's heated, it degrades into a carcinogenic compound, that it's linked to lung problems and an asthmatic trigger. People were very upset, and there was no way for Subway to hide and hide under cover, even of the FDA, because they realized that they've already taken this ingredient out of all of those different subs across the globe and not us. And so they had to respond. And the funny thing is they said that they were going to do this all along. But it's really interesting because I contacted them 10 days ago on their customer service line and through email, and they didn't tell me any of this. They wouldn't even tell me anything about this ingredient back then, and they wouldn't tell me it a year ago when I released a video about this substance, me even eating a yoga mat out of pure comedy and reaction and to get people thinking about what they're eating. And a year before that, in 2012, when I released the full investigation on Subway, how it wasn't really eating fresh. So it's really interesting that they are coming out finally saying that this ingredient's going to come out of their bread. But if anybody thinks that they can eat this now, think again. This is not a Subway sandwich you want to be eating. First of all of the Subway sandwiches right now currently have this ingredient, as well as a slew of other ingredients that are plasticizers, that are GMOs, that are non-organic, that are hidden MSG in the form of yeast extract or natural flavors, or even have caramel coloring in it, which is considered a carcinogen as well. So I would really like to have Subway invite me to their headquarters and talk to them about the ingredients they do plan on using now to create their bread, and let's take a look at them and see if they're going to be really safe. And also, I would expect that they provide a timeline publicly, especially to the over now 65,000 people who have signed the petition. They owe that timeline to us to know when we are going to be seeing the removal of this chemical.
Well, again, I am so excited. People get excited when their team wins the Super Bowl, or they get excited when, you know, somebody says, "Oh, cool car." I get excited about reversing the trend that America is a dumping ground for Agent Orange, for plastic in the food, for melamine in the milk. I mean, it's a joke what they get away with, and it needs to stop. And then meanwhile, they'll try to shut down a municipal water supply if it's got 1 part per billion of arsenic or something that studies show doesn't even do anything. So the government on one end will harass people using standards that are too high if it doesn't make sense. But if there's a lobby, a corporate lobby out there, they'll use overregulation to tax and control local governments and people. But then when it comes to big agra, they've just been given a free rein. I mean, talk about, because I know you're an expert on this, Monsanto and how they own the courts and the revolving door in Republican and Democratic administrations, and how they can infect people's crops and then go sue them in court and you get in trouble because their crops got into your crop. It's incredible.
It is absolutely incredible. And, you know, in 2007, when Barack Obama stood before the Food Democracy Now! Crowd and everyone and said that we all deserve to know what's in our food, and that he would fight for labeling of GMOs, and then turn around and hire the Secretary of Agriculture to be Tom Vilsack, someone in the back pockets of Monsanto and the Corn Refiners Association. That was a real big slap in the face, and that's why I stood up at the DNC and why I ran to be a delegate, so that I could make all of our voices heard around this issue, because it's really sad that the U.S. government is allowing seed, life, food to be patented by companies and then owned and controlled, and then furthermore owning and controlling farmers who have no control over how seeds fly in the wind and how they cross-pollinate and end up on different land, and then allowing these companies to sue these farmers for their farmland to get back money to these big conglomerate chemical companies. And let's just remember why who's creating these genetically engineered seeds. It's all of the big chemical companies. It's Monsanto, Dow, Syngenta, BASF. They are all in the business of selling chemicals. So if you think that they're going to create a seed that doesn't involve their chemical, the Agent Orange, the Roundup, all of these different toxic, life-threatening type of chemicals on these seeds, you've got something else coming, because that's exactly what they're trying to do. They're trying to sell more chemicals, and they're trying to put more on the land and pollute the earth. And what's really sad is that ever since GMOs have been introduced, over 400 million more pounds of herbicides have been sprayed on our land. And I can't even imagine what is going to happen to Iowa in the future, if it's going to be a toxic wasteland or not.
Oh, it's in all the tap water all over the place. It's a nightmare. Vani Hari, the food babe's with us for one more segment. But before we go to break, I wanted to ask you, a lot of times when they take one emulsifier plastic out, softener, I notice they'll just add another one. Kind of like they'll get rid of aspartame, but then put in basically the same thing under another name. Do you expect them to really try to clean their food up? Because I'd like to be able to eat at Subway.
Well, I would too. It'd be so nice to be able to stop there on the road, or, because they're everywhere.
It'd be nice to have fast food that wasn't poison.
Yeah.
Because, a lot of times you're on a road trip. Where is there?
Yeah, and really, honestly, the only place to eat right now is Chipotle, because they are removing GMOs, and you can get a nice organic black bean salad with some guacamole and avoid GMOs, and have mostly organic ingredients. But with Subway, it'll be really hard to eat there unless they really clean up all their breads and take out, again, the GMOs, the yeast extract, the hidden MSG that kills your brain cells, that makes you addicted to their food. Remember that taste and eat more than you should, and the caramel coloring.
It's a conspiracy. Stay there. Let's come back and talk about what you're planning next with the food babe.
Virtually anyone can hack.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's time to be mean when it comes to this and get in their face and point out what they're doing. And our guest, the food babe, is simply amazing. We got 5 minutes left in this short segment. I got a very special video coming up after that, and then right back to your phone calls and some breaking news as well. But Vani Hari joins us. And, folks, we have victory every time we take action together, because what the globalists are doing is so outrageous. And used to, they would just go, oh, this plastic's good for you. Now they go, the government said we're allowed to, so you can't sue us, but we're taking it out. And what she's doing and what others are doing is the blueprint of victory. Vani Hari, other key points you'd like to relay to people and give us an idea of what's next, because I can't wait to have you on about that.
Yeah, absolutely. So, what I want everyone to realize is that, there is a lot of power when you make your voice heard, when you share this information with your friends and family, when you tell someone who may not know, maybe you're walking by and someone's about to walk into a Subway. What if you were to just take the second and say, hey, did you know there's plastic in their bread? And just open people's eyes, because that's what's really going to change this world. Imagine everybody becoming aware of what's really in their food and the amount of change that can quickly occur. I mean, this change happened in 24 hours, this announcement. And imagine if so many more people were to really become awake. So what I want to challenge everyone listening here today and viewing this is, voice your concerns about the food system. When you see a petition that you resonate resonate with and you agree with that, hey, we shouldn't have GMOs in Cheerios, or we shouldn't have, plastics in our bread, or caramel coloring, or any of these other ingredients, or MSG, flame retardants. In the case of Gatorade, Gatorade used to have flame retardants in it until a teenager in Mississippi spoke up about it and started a petition. So we are really powerful when we speak up and we bind together and we make our voice heard. And I think what was so amazing about this action is not only people did they go sign the petition, but people went inside the Subway restaurants and started questioning the franchise owners and the managers and the people working there. And those people got upset and started contacting the headquarters going, what are we selling here? They didn't even understand that they were selling plastic to their people. So imagine us doing that for every single chemical we encounter at the grocery store and at fast food restaurants and other places. We really have the power to change. And like I said last time I was on, the most critical thing you can do is what you decide to put in your mouth every single day. And if you make that decision, vote with your dollars, you really can change the world.
I tell you, I just get so excited about everything that's going on. And it's just a beautiful thing to see you taking action and all the success you've had resonating with the people and all these other great activists. I'm not trying to give people a pep talk here. It's true. We could really turn society around if more people just start taking action. Like every time I'm in a gas station or a convenience store, my kids want some candy or some gum, and let's say we've been hiking, so they deserve it or whatever. It's so hard to find anything that doesn't have all the new aspartame derivatives in it that'll make my kids go blind on record and brain damage them, and is an excitotoxin, and there's all these other chemicals, and I look up what it is, and it's always petrochemicals. I mean, and then other countries don't allow it. Sometimes I go to Whole Foods, I can get like German candy and stuff that's actually good and doesn't give you a headache. I mean, it's like, can't we just have normal food here?
Exactly. It kills me. You mentioned gum. Every time I go past a counter at, the CVS, the Walgreens, the drugstore, or at the normal grocery store, and I see all of those things that are marketed towards children that are real low on the shelf, full of all these chemicals, not only plastics and MSG and aspartame, but BHT, that really nasty ingredient that's banned all over the world, and all the artificial food dyes that require a warning label for you to have it in other countries. It's really frightening, and I guarantee, we really are changing the world faster than we even can imagine if we start to speak up. So I just hope everyone joins me. Come over to foodbabe.com, see what's going on, and
all right. You're awesome. Thank you so much, and we'll have you back with your new initiative.
We're on the march. The empires.
That's right. We're going toe-to-toe with the New World Order. And I'm going to Corey, Thomas, Dave, Jonathan, and Clarence here in about 5 minutes, and then to all the news we haven't gotten to yet. But first off, you've heard about clergy response teams, InfraGard. Millions of people have now been recruited to be spies against the public. And it's not being done to stop terrorism. It's not being done to stop crime. It's part of an authoritarian takeover. We need to be honest about that. So we produced this training video. And I've decided to join the dark side and join tyranny. But I'm a coward deep down, so I'm not going to admit that to myself consciously. Out of fear, I'm going to join the New World Order. And so I've rationalized that I'm really a hero fighting al-Qaeda, even though our government runs al-Qaeda. And then I'm spying on everyone because I'm a hero. And so we've produced a video to kind of rationalize my decision to endorse Obamacare, to endorse open borders, to endorse forced inoculation, to endorse GMO, and to endorse Roundup in our water so we can die of cancer. And I just endorse Monsanto. I endorse plastic in the McNuggets. I endorse kidney failure. I endorse melamine in the baby formula. Only country in the world allows it, U.S. I've decided I've been wrong all along. Everything is fine. I think the police, if they see an ambulance driving, should just open fire on it and blow it up with Laws rockets. I mean, don't just beat up the ambulance drivers because they dare have flashing lights like theirs. I mean, I just support big government now. I support tyranny. And I've decided to join because I'm a hero with the system. So here is the actual training video. If you're a radio listener, you'll be able to hear it. I'll have this video reposted to Infowars.com right now for folks. But ladies and gentlemen, here is the video. This is a Homeland Security declassified training video of how you induct yourself into total paranoia and false reality to overthrow freedom, join evil in the name of fighting terrorists that are publicly run by the hijacked government. So here is my mental breakdown joining Homeland Security right now, exclusive. Here it is. I already feel relaxed. Just listen to that music.
Even though I'm just a lowly person and aren't part of the greater supreme homeland, people in black uniforms that I look up to, I'm still part of the federal family that Janet talks about because I snoop for them. And that's what America's about. Total schizophrenic paranoia. Absolutely thinking the terrorists are hiding under every table. Just think, they all look normal, but you know any of them could be a terrorist. Don't trust the public. Only trust Janet, Big Sis Napolitano, and Homeland Security. That's what I've learned, and that's what I do. Yeah, it's in the Communities Against Terrorism alerts. They've put out hundreds of them. They say people wearing blue jeans are using cell phones of the terrorists. I work at a local internet cafe, coffee shop, and it told me that there were people doing stuff like trying to have privacy or using voice over IP or communicating through PC games. Man, there's nothing these terrorists won't do. But the number one thing they said was they use cash or credit cards. That's the really scary part. There's a lot of them come in there, a lot of them using cash, and some of them even want to be anonymous and have privacy when they surf the web. Those are the ones you gotta watch. It makes me realize that most of the population are terrorists.
There's so many people using cell phones. There's so many people who've got screen blockers so I can't read what they're saying. There's even more using cash. The terrorists are everywhere.
Hold yourself together.
You can do it though. You can do it for America.
Do it for Janet.
Finally, my life means something. I'm the FBI now. Trust no one but Janet Dung Beetle Napolitano. No one but her.
You've always wanted to be part of an elite team. You got responsibilities now. Now get out there and start spying.
We have a large house blend, please.
All right, let me get that for you. Oh, yeah, he's definitely one.
Listen, are you paying cash?
Yeah, you all right, man?
I got to ask you this. It's just a matter of national security. I'm an important person now. Is there a reason you're paying with cash?
It's only a couple dollars. I just usually pay cash when it's, you know, not very much money. Yeah.
Why? I mean,
I don't understand how that's any of your business.
But, I mean, privacy is not what America's about. I mean, I've got to report you to Homeland Security.
Are you on meds?
No, this is the new Homeland. I mean, the TSA sticks their hands down your pants. I
just think you're acting kind of weird. I just want a cup of coffee.
All right, yeah, and I mean, with the inflation, it's actually $5 for a cup of coffee. Do you have some more money?
I get a cup of coffee, just regular. It's like a medium.
Sure, medium. Anything else?
I'll get a cookie too.
You get a cookie? All right, sure, I'll get that for you.
It's a cookie.
My God, there's a lot of terrorists.
Hold on a minute. Can you pay with a credit card, please?
I don't know if I have enough in my account, so I'm just going to pay cash. Actually, I have a couple 20s here, so I'm just going to give you a 20. Is that cool?
Oh, my God, they're everywhere. Oh, they're everywhere. Oh, hold on. I got to get myself together. I'm Jack Bauer, Jack Bauer.
Can you get my change? Can I have that? Thanks. Cool?
You're being watched. The Homeland's keeping you safe. Okay.
By who?
Just get out of here. You're lucky.
You know, it's a pretty big boost to my ego to realize I'm a good guy because I spy on everybody. There he is. Oh, he's dangerous. You can tell it. I just act like I'm sneaking up on him. All right. Oh no, it's true. He's looking at InfoWars. In fact, it says in the report that they visit extremist or radical sites. I gotta track him. I gotta do what they told me. Dun, 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 dun. I can almost hear it now. Dun, 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 dun. Oh my gosh, I'm secret agent. Dun, 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 dun. Oh man, I'm brave. I'm just like those guys on TV.
Yes, FBI. I've got him. He bought coffee with cash, and he was using a proxy server to search the web. Yes, I've got one of them. He's definitely a terrorist.
Dun-dun, dun, 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 dun. All right, a little bit of dark satire there, folks, but this is really a serious situation where the government's running around trampling the Bill of Rights to fight terrorism, and they're running the terrorists and funding them and protecting them on record. And I'm just going to keep hammering that till the cows come home. Corey in Colorado, you're on the air. I've now exposed myself, sir. Actual Homeland Security training video. What'd you think?
Well, I did have a topic picked out, but after I saw that, I was just like, I don't know. But anyway, I was just calling because, I mean, it's not rocket science, what you got to do in this country to get it back. It's proven that Obama really don't care. The thing I'm calling about is how dumbed down the people are.
That's a little racist, by the way, to criticize Obama.
Call it as it is. I used to live up in the mountains. I was forced down to live in the city for a while. I no longer go to the zoo. I go to the local supermarket. To see these people act the way they do is unreal. It's crazy. And I'm dumbfounded by it, with all the evidence out there. And these people just don't see it. Now, as for the cops and the firemen, it's clearly chemical imbalance, I think. They need to get off the GMOs, get off all that stuff.
Well, no, that's why people are acting so weird, is we're dying of cancer, mental illness is up. I mean, we are poisoned, and then the system poses as the saviors while they're poisoning us. I mean, it's very, very simple, and then things only get worse. So you're absolutely right, and it's just getting crazier and crazier. So I think everybody should just go to the grocery store and stick warning labels on all the chewing gum. I mean all of it's got aspartame. Good luck finding it that doesn't. And that's really going to be the answer to all this, is just all of us getting aggressive. It'll feel weird the first time you go to the supermarket and are sticking stickers on things or sticking InfoWars magazines inside the newspaper racks or whatever, but it will drive the enemy insane. It's like people all went into Subways and started freaking out on them. Why is there plastic in here banned worldwide? People are having a normal response. And I'll never forget, there was a case in Missouri or Tennessee. It was like 10 years ago. There's been a bunch of these. And they had the 11th, well, the girls were 11 years old, whatever that is, 8th grade or whatever it was, 7th grade basketball team. And they had cameras in the showers for their safety that was watched by the, quote, staff at the field house. Well, other girls from another town who hadn't been conditioned freaked out when they saw cameras. The dads all got mad. There was almost a fight with the police. And then the principal came out and said, well, this is normal. There could be theft or problems in the showers. And then it turned out Sacramento was doing it in California. But it was the girls had the normal response. There's a camera in the shower. You see, we have to have the normal response that, man, our cancer rates are exploding. And, man, Diet Coke's on record making people go blind. You know, we've got to get around to understanding this. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Well, that's okay. I agree with you totally, Alex. And it's very
stupid out there. I mean, people are not waking up with all the evidence out there. I actually got kicked out of my house for what I believe in. She actually wrote you down in a report to the judge that I listened to Alex Jones, and I think the government's poisonous.
Well, oh, my gosh, how evil. So what, your wife got you kicked out because you're, you listen to the show?
My girl has a motto, why die by your own hands? And she's referring to the poisons in the food, my 8-year-old. Okay, she tries to educate her mother. Mother blows it off. But anyway, I'm getting to that, and I'm taking care of it. But I'm just dumbfounded by the people. All the evidence out there, it's clear as day.
So your wife used it as evidence in court of your thought crime that you listened to a show that's in the top 10 in things like Talkers Magazine. I mean, we're award-winning broadcast, on record. Everything we've been talking about's come true, has been documented. And she still is in her own world believing that this is some type of evil broadcast?
Exactly. And you know what? My little girls cried when I told them they're not going to have McDonald's anymore. They literally cried. They don't
well, that sounds like, well, I mean, you're a bad father. You don't want to give them plastic emulsifiers? I mean, what is your problem?
Better watch out because I give them nation iodine too. So,
oh my God.
Oh my God.
Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Folks, I want to apologize right now for hearing this extremist. I appreciate your call. God bless you, extremist. This is incredible. I mean, actually, I go on road trips sometimes, and all there is McDonald's. And I think I ate some 4 years ago and got a huge headache, close to a migraine. And then I started thinking back, the times I've had migraine headaches is when I've been eating fast food, which I had, like in 10 years, I've done like probably 10 times. But it was sometime about a year ago, I was on a road trip, and I ate Sonicers. Yeah, and I mean, I felt like I'd been run over by a car. And I'll go in Chinese food restaurants, and I'll go, listen, I don't want MSG. They go, no MSG. And I'll go, now listen. And the food comes out, and I can stick a fork in it. I can taste it. It has that, it's like, I'm not eating this. And they go, oh, sorry. Then they'll go back and cook it without it because, the chef's back there slinging on the food. And they do that because the meat's been frozen. They know, I'd rather taste frozen meat, okay? If I'm out on the road somewhere, the frozen meat taste, than eat this stuff developed by the Japanese military in World War I to make people eat rotten meat, okay? I don't want it eating my brain. It kills brain cells. It's worse than Jack Daniels, folks, for your family. I mean, I love how they got all these toxic substances like alcohol that's okay, but then they'll take something, 20 times worse and push it on people like, I'm just ranting. I don't even know what I'm talking about anymore. It just makes me want to go crazy. Clarence in Oklahoma. Go ahead, sir. Thanks for holding. And we'll go to Jonathan, Dave, and Thomas. Go ahead. You're on the air, Clarence.
God bless you and your team and your family and everything that you guys do. Two things real quick is a couple of Oath Keepers up here in Oklahoma. We sent a letter out to all 77 sheriffs here in Oklahoma. And the whopping response is 10. Only 10 replied. Actually, 11 replied, and only 10 of them were good responses. And I would like to get a shout-out to those sheriffs that replied and said, no, they're not going to take our guns. No, they're not going to haul us off to the FEMA camps or help the federal government in any way doing their awesome, patriotic duties that they do with the Gestapo. the NSA.
Well, who were some of the sheriffs up there that responded to your letter, actually talked to a slave?
Let's see. We had Pawnee County was one of the sheriffs. I believe Cleveland County was one of them. I don't have all the information here. I'm going to send it to Show Tips, InfoWars Show Tips.
Yeah, tell us. So what's the name of your group? Or you just sent a letter to them and they responded?
Well, we're part of Oath Keepers, and the Oath Keepers here in Oklahoma wanted to send a letter out to all 77 sheriffs. And we also send them the Sheriff's MacBook and to see what our
No, that's good. Have that conversation with them. Engage them. What you're doing is simply amazing. Finish up on the other side, then we'll go to Jonathan, Dave, Thomas, and Kenny.
What's making Americans sick and full?
And I'll ride again.
Let's go ahead and go back to Clarence in Oklahoma. Clarence, I heard about Oath Keepers doing this all over the country. That's good to engage the police, engage the sheriffs, try to see if they're going to stand with America or with the tyranny. Any other points you'd like to add?
The second point was, gentlemen, if you're not taking male vitality, you're definitely missing out. In fact, don't take it because that's more for me.
You know, I'm glad listeners are plugging it, but seriously, because I forgot to plug this hour, that's how we fund ourselves. I got with Dr. Group and others, and I said, I want the most souped up, concentrated, raw, from wet herbs, not dry, new, organic. And it took 6 months to get the material together and to then purify it and to do all this. And it is dynamite to the point of I can't even take it every day or I'll run around screaming. But, I mean, what has Super Male Vitality done for you, brother?
I'm telling you, it energizes you, and I mean, you know what it does. I mean, it just it fires you up, and yeah, I mean, you're just bouncing off the walls, And my wife's just like, you have to take that stuff today because it's it kind of drives her crazy too. But
you know what Beavis says? I mean, sorry.
Oh, brother, I tell you, it's.
What'd your wife say about it?
Oh, she loves it. I mean, it's it's great. I'm telling you, like I said, Jeff, if you're not taking it, just don't, because that's more for me. So, but I mean, just to go back to the police thing real quick, because I went to I stopped at a gas station and I saw 4 highway patrols sitting at a table, and I whipped out my wallet and had some Oath Keeper cards, and I handed each 4 of those gentlemen that card, and I said, gentlemen, I appreciate what you do, and thank you for your service. So there may become a time where you're going to have to uphold your constitutional oath. And I just left it at that, and I turned and walked away from the table. Well, the gentleman that I was with, or the gentleman I was with, we were headed back to Tulsa, they looked at me and said, oh, you're just kissing that cop's butt. I said, look, guys, I said, there's going to be a day when those guys are going to be knocking down doors. I said, we want those guys on our side. So if you
that's right. We don't want them dead in the Civil War while the globalists sit overseas laughing at us. Very well said, brother. I'm going to jump to Dave in Colorado, then Jonathan in Overdrive, and Thomas and Kenny. Dave in Colorado, what's your whistleblower story? Thanks for calling.
Oh, hi, Alex. It's nice to hear your voice again over my telephone.
Yeah, tell us your story.
What's that?
Tell us your story.
Okay. Many years ago, I worked for a county up in Oregon, actually for Portland, Oregon, and I was part of an investigation team that investigated cases of death and injury to disabled persons with severe and persistent mental illness. And I investigated a case where it turned out that my office and elements in my office were responsible for the death of one of these people. And I had to file my report, and I was told many times not to do so. I ended up filing that report, and I had a lot of recrimination against me, and I really learned a lot going through the entire judicial proceeding of that. It's a very isolating experience when you go through those.
Yeah, it's a bunch of cowards together engaging in organized crime. Very, very, very well said, but good job telling the truth. God sees that, and God sees your heart, brother. I'm sorry I'm in everybody holding the end. We're going to go into overdrive here, Dave. But, Dave, I want to hear briefly, in just 20 seconds on the other side, how it ended, though. And we're going to go to Thomas and Kennedy and Jonathan. It's now up on Infowars.com, the incredible incrimination. Alex Jones joins Homeland Security. That's right, folks. I've made the decision to buy into the paranoia. I love Obama. Obama. All right, finish up, Dave. So what ended up happening when you blew the whistle on the corruption?
Well, it all turned out well for me. The county board of directors decided that it was better to settle with me, and I was eventually able to take the settlement money and eventually was able to get my advanced degree and end up worked for the Smithsonian and worked for Amnesty International and had a number of amazing experiences in Washington, D.C.
Well, see, you did the right thing. Amazing. God bless you. I figured it was going to end up good. It usually ends up good when you do the right thing. It's usually rough for a while, and then just doors open up. So many times I've refused to bow. I've refused to be intimidated. I've refused, and I've stepped across the line, and just every time the doors just open. Every time. It just gets better. The worse they persecute us, the more God opens the doors for us. But there may be a final physical price, and God knows I'm ready. So if God be with us, who can be against us? It's all in God's plan. Let's talk to Jonathan in Florida. Thanks for holding her on the air.
Alex, thank you so much for spreading the good word. God bless you.
God bless you, my friend.
Okay, we have 3 full nuclear meltdowns right now in Fukushima. Reactor 3 contained 89
That's a conspiracy. It's good for you.
Oh, of course, yes. The plutonium MOX.
It's preposterous that it might be bad. Sorry, go ahead.
Oh, I know. You're right, because it would only take 700 grams dispersed in the atmosphere to overdose 7 billion civilians, according to the CCNR, and up to 80 million grams were dispersed. That's enough to overdose every single person on the planet over 100,000 times.
But what's wrong with dying? It gives the Earth over to the elite.
Well, the elite can't run from this. No one can run from this. The plutonium has the highest...
But their father likes death. I mean...
Well, then they're going to get what they've been asking for.
Beelzebub is nice. God bless you. Good points. Hey, by the way, I didn't cover this today. It's huge. It's up on Infowars.com. It's a blurb by Washington's blog. We should all write about this. This should be on the Nightly News tonight. I'm going to do a couple special reports for the Nightly News. I think I'm going to do one on this tonight. Spy agency engaged in internet false flag attacks. NBC News reports what I've already told you. Almost all the cyber attacks and stuff you see and credit cards being released is the government doing it to then claim they need more funding and power. And it's now in a new Snowden document. One reason they're so mad. A new report from NBC News confirms, quote, that the federal government through cybersecurity launched their own false flag operations and then blamed it on their enemies as part of an excuse to take over. Boom, NBC News. We're right again. We're right again. I mean, look, if you can think they're doing it, they're doing it. That's how evil works, okay? God gave you a noggin and all that gray matter slopping around up there so you could actually know what's going on the planet. And this is the type of stuff they do. War on Anonymous, British spies attacked hackers, Snowden doc show. And that's just NBC getting into that one angle. The big angle is that they launched attacks and then blamed it on other hackers. They launched Stuxnet, for heaven's sakes, and then used it to say we need cybersecurity when they launched it. Due to Stuxnet, we need to totally have backdoors and everything so we can really hack and screw things up. I mean, help everyone. It's so illegal what Greenwald's doing, telling us about the data we stole. Why, he's got stolen data. We stole illegally. Outrageous. Arrest that man. Nightly News tonight, 7 o'clock Central. Prisonplanet.tv. If you're not there, folks, you're not part of the resistance. Spread the word. We need your help.
Time